All right, good evening. This is a special meeting of Livingston's Planning Board, and notice of this meeting has been published in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you. Jack, can you take the roll, please?
Mr. Reber? Here. Ms. Foss? Here. Mr. Dufford? Here. Mr. Batani?
Here.
Ms. Vishnu?
Here.
Ms. Khanna?
Here.
Vice Chair Santola?
Here.
Chairman Fernandez?
Here.
We have a quorum, Mr. Ratner, Mr. Diner, Mr. Lewis are not present this evening, and we do have our board attorney.
Thank you. And if you can please call the first matter?
The first matter that's scheduled for this evening is a minor subdivision with variances for 76 Hillside Avenue, Block 3901, Lot 79, application number 2024-68-MSUBV, Alta Asset Management LLC, located in the R3 zone.
Thank you. And I just want to review the general procedure for tonight's hearing. The applicant's attorney will call one or more witnesses to give sworn testimony in support of the application. Members of the board may ask questions of the witness, and when the attorney for the applicant has no more questions for a witness, interested parties in favor of or in opposition to the application may question the witness about the witness's testimony. When all the applicant's witnesses have testified and there is an entity or group formally appearing as a party in support of or in opposition to the application, they may call witnesses. When all the witnesses of all the parties have been heard, members of the public may give sworn statements for or against the application. I think that's it. Counselor?
Diana McGovern on behalf of the applicant, Alta Asset Management.
Thank you. If you'd like to call your first witness.
Yes, thank you. Just briefly, my client, Alta Asset Management, is the contract purchaser of 76 Hillside Avenue. 76 Hillside is located in the R3 zone. Property is trapezoidal-shaped lot that is 41,973 square feet in area with 162.33 feet of frontage on Hillside Avenue. On that lot sits a house that was built in 1947. My client plans to, if approved, to raise the house and subdivide the lot into two parcels. The first lot, 79.01, would have 20,885.8 square feet in area and have 81.17 feet of frontage on Hillside, and lot 79.02 would have 21,887.8 square feet and have 81.17 feet of frontage on Hillside. While the lot is very deep, almost 250 feet, the lot width creates the need for the variance, which in your Livingston ordinance, the minimum lot area required is 15,000 square feet with 150 feet of the front street right-of-way. Thus, our proposed lots are short of the required footage. The first lot, 01, would be calculated at 12,677.9 square feet, or short 2,323 square feet, and lot 02 would have 12,667.3 square feet, or short 2,332 square feet. I have two witnesses tonight, Mr. Wisowski, who is the managing member of Alta Asset Management, and Charles Valdanza, who is a licensed engineer, architect, and planner. He's going to wear all three hats tonight. So we get three for the price of one. So if I could call my first witness.
That would be great, please.
Thank you. Mr. Wiskowski.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you.
They have to swear you in.
Raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please give us your full name and spell your last name for the record.
Camille Wizakowski, spelled W-Y-R-Z-Y-K-O-W-S-K-I.
Okay, Camille, could you please just tell the board about the house that you're under contract to purchase the property with the house? What is that house like right now, currently?
Sure. So it's a late 1940s split level, built on block foundation. The foundation is in below standard condition. In the basement, the house was constructed with a low I would say about 6 foot, 6.5 foot ceiling height in the basement. The basement is under half of the house. The rest is on slab, on grade. The first floor, as you walk up, which is also the ground floor, has pretty small rooms, inclusive of a living room, kitchen, a small den without any closets. The kitchen is pretty outdated. It looks like it's an original kitchen. The flooring, which was actually very interesting, was built with a peg installation, which, you know, isn't used anymore. The floor was squeaking pretty much throughout the house. And then you walk up the small set of stairs to the, I'm sorry, that floor has a 1.5 bathrooms on that main floor. And then there's another bathroom on the second floor with additional bedrooms, which all share that bathroom.
And so now you're proposing to knock this house down, and are you going to be the developer of the homes that you're proposing on this site?
Yes, that is my intention.
All right. And we have the building envelope on the plans that were submitted.
Sure.
And Mr. Baldanza will go into that. But what is the plan generally in your mind as to the type of home that you're going to build there?
Yeah, so the type of home would be, if permitted, it would be 2 center hall colonial type homes. The typical style that I've done in Livingston was either more of a modern farmhouse style or modern traditional. Here, I like the modern traditional style, similar to what I did on 72 Fellswood and what I'm currently doing on 35 Crescent. As you walk in, the house would be 53 feet wide, 38 feet deep. Double car garage would be about 20 by 22. So as you walk up the center hall, which would be then 33 feet wide, 8 feet for a foyer, and then split the sides into an office and a formal dining room. I like to have a first floor office for the stay-at-home or work-from-home families that in today's day and age really like that. I also like a formal dining room in a home of this size because, you know, for family gatherings and special occasions. Additionally, I'd like to have a first floor bedroom with a bathroom for elderly family members that I know a lot of Livingston buyers are looking for in these homes today, with an open floor concept throughout the rest of the house, with a family room, kitchen, modern appliances, everything like that. On the second floor, we would have 4 bedrooms with 3 bathrooms. That would include a master suite with a his and hers master closet, a princess suite for, you know, any other special guests, and then I also like to have 2 additional bedrooms, typically for kids, that are tied together with a Jack and Jill bathroom. In the basement, I would like to have an open rec space for kids that want to play and have friends over, and for, you know, any sort of fun activities. I also like to have a gym and like a wellness center for family members that like to, you know, kind of relax and take a breather. And then I also do like to have another extra bedroom down there with an egress for any special guests that might, you know, stay over or whatnot that need additional space, that they would have a additional bedroom in the basement.
I don't know if bedrooms are allowed in the basement. If they're not by the town, you have no problem with following the ordinance?
Yeah, I haven't had that issue in Livingston. All the builds I've ever done always had an egress. We have a window well that's 66 inches wide by 72 inches deep. There's a drain that ties into the foundation drain. We have a ladder with either a fence or a cover on top.
Since you are familiar with the Livingston ordinances, do you see any difficulty in meeting all of the side yard, backyard, front yard setback requirements in the town?
No.
And what about habitable floor area ratio? Do you see any difficulty in meeting that requirement?
No, we're going to be proposing under 21% on this lot of over 20,000. I think we're going to be in the high teens, and we have no intention of exceeding that because I think the house is, for R3 at 3520, I think our square footage is 3,500, which I think is more than sufficient
Okay, thank you.
for these lots.
I think the board may have some questions.
I don't have a quick question. Go ahead.
So what's happened people have gotten subdivisions, and then they go to the zoning board for McMansion relief. So, Counselor, I can't remember whether we retain jurisdiction or we just get notice so that that doesn't happen.
You're,
Yeah, I think that the applicant has agreed to comply with all of the, all the bulk standards.
Right, but if he changes his mind,
Right, I
we
think-
won't know.
I think the planner said that we would retain
Okay,
jurisdiction.
perfect.
that's correct, and we are absolutely fine with abiding by all of the recommendations of your planner.
Yep, and I have no intention of doing that.
What's the total square footage of the completed house?
3,500. That's habitable floor.
Habitable
But
floor area.
building square footage, which includes the basement, is going to be larger than that, but that's not included in habitable floor. That's in the building square footage, which I think 3,500 plus another 1,200, you're looking at about 4,700, inclusive of a finished basement.
Are there plans for an attic?
No,
Okay.
no attic.
So your calculation of the habitable floor ratio, the math seems off somewhere.
Why is that?
Bless you.
Thank you.
Using the calculation for the habitable floor area ratio, you're getting, you said in the teens?
What, Charlie, where are we? For habitable floor
This may be a
area ratio?
question.
Oh, yeah,
It's
That's
probably-
fine,
Charlie
yeah.
can
Yeah, Charlie can answer that.
probably
Okay, thank you.
provide more of a description on that.
I was just doing quick math in my head.
I understand. And the way it's calculated
Yeah.
for the square footage and the ratio are different, so
Yes.
it gets complicated.
Any other questions by the board? Any questions from the public for this witness as to his testimony? Seeing none.
The plans actually show your square footage of 3,472.
On
You
the
said
plans.
3,500,
Yeah,
are the
but-
plans correct?
Yes, they're correct.
You were just rounding off.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Next witness?
Oh, you have a question for the witness? Yeah, come on, you can come on up. If you have general comments, you can wait till the end. If you have questions for the witness, then you can ask them now. But if you just have some general comments, then you would do that at the end.
No, I do have a question.
Okay.
So according to the...
Your microphone and then name and address, please.
I'm sorry. My name is Elisa Chang, and I'm right next door at 72 Hillside, the long brown ranch right across from the school. So my question
I'm
is,
sorry, your address again was?
72 Hillside?
72?
Yes. So my question is, why do both homes have to be 50 feet from the front of the street? Because my neighbor Camilla, she's on one side and her house is set back. And then these two want to be right in the front, and then I'm also set back on 72. So basically, there's two houses that are set back, and then you want your two homes to be in the front. Why does it have to be 50 feet from the street? Does it have to be? Can it be set back farther?
Well, according to the R3 zoning ordinance, the minimum is 50 feet and the maximum is 60 feet. And we're happy to either be at 50 or 60, and we're flexible within that range that's allowed.
Okay, the current home is sitting how far back?
I would have to ask Charlie.
Charlie, I'm sorry.
He's our engineer architect. He'll be testifying next.
Okay. So I was just wondering why it had to be so, you know,
The code,
close.
the ordinance allows it to be built there?
Got it. So there's no way to move it back? Because for me, my concern is that it kind of blocks my view. You know, I've already been living there for a while now. And I won't be able to see, you know, the one side of Belmont that I can see, that corner right now. So that's my
I mean,
concern.
the ordinance allows it to be put there, so we can't force them to move it.
Okay. But, I mean, you're open to another 10 feet back? Is that what you said?
Yes, we are open to that.
Okay.
If the board prefers, we can move it back 60 feet from the street.
So for proximity, Ms. Weiss, you are on the left side if you're looking at the house or the right?
I am, if we're looking at
At the
the
property.
two homes, I'm on the right side.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah. I'm on the right side, if we're looking towards the houses.
100 feet back.
Yeah, the long brown ranch, yeah. Right directly across from Hillside Elementary. Okay, that was one of mine, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, what's the application for?
Right.
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah, you can move on to your next one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't understand this math, though.
I can swear you in. When you're ready,
Yes.
raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please give us your full name and spell your last name, please.
Okay. Name is Charles L., middle initial, Baldanza, Baldanza.
Thank you.
Okay, Charlie, we're introducing you as an expert in several different fields. So if you could give the board the benefit of your educational background, highlighting engineering, architecture, and planning.
Of course. Yeah, I have, my education is I have a master's degree in architecture from NJIT. I've had my own design firm since 2014. I am licensed as I'm a registered architect, professional engineer, and professional planner. My licenses are in good standing, and I have been accepted as an expert in architecture, engineering, and planning by land use boards throughout New Jersey.
And your licenses are in New Jersey, correct?
They're all, yes, in New Jersey.
And I know that you appeared in front of the Livingston Zoning Board several times.
Yes.
All three of those capacities, correct?
Correct.
I offer Mr. Baldanza as an expert if the board wants any more qualifications in the areas of engineering, planning, and architecture.
Any questions from the board? Any objections? So the board accepts you as an expert in engineering, architecture, and planning.
Okay,
Thank you.
Charlie, if you could show the board, you prepared the subdivision plan, correct?
Yeah, yes. What I have up right now is the Lakeland, prepared by Lakeland, this survey and proposed filing subdivision plan, on which my conceptual site plan is based. So I'm showing now on the screen, the conceptual site plan of the proposed development, which was, my understanding was submitted to the board.
We
Yeah.
know that there's some questions about if you could take them through the numbers in terms of the configuration of the lots and then the proposed configuration of the home. And you know that the board is interested in floor area ratio and those numbers. So if you could just explain that to the board in terms of describing the subdivision.
Correct. I will address first just showing again now, sorry to jump back and forth, the existing house, which is shown on the survey.
Did we get that as part of our packet? I don't remember seeing that.
I think it was I don't think it was in the hard copy packet, but it was in the drive.
I didn't see it in the drive either, but okay. I just want to know if we needed to add it as an exhibit, but if it's been submitted, then great, go ahead.
Okay, sure. So to answer a couple of the questions that were brought up during Camille's testimony, the existing house has a setback. I'm going to try to zoom in here. I'm not used to this system here, but let me see what I can do. So does have a non-conforming setback. The zone has a minimum and maximum setback. So the current house is set back 94.8 feet, which is non-conforming in the zone. And I know that there was an issue brought up about the proposed habitable floor area ratios. Perhaps the element of confusion is that my understanding is that the habitable floor area ratio is calculated based on the actual square footage of the lot, not the area within the 150 feet of the right-of-way. So what we're getting is a number based on that approximately 3,500 and then divided by the proposed lot areas of 20,000 and change and 21,000 and change. And that's how we yielded the number of .16 and .17 for the two proposed lots.
So
Yeah.
would you also describe, I guess, the dimensions of the proposed lots and the
Yeah.
shape of those lots?
Yeah, let me start out that so the subject property, as we all know, is at 76 Hillside. The property in question is 41,973.6 area, which is greater than the 15,000 required in the zone. Just as an overview, the property is located near the corner of Hillside Avenue and Belmont Drive. The existing house is located, as you saw, in the middle of the oversized lot. It's conforming in other ways. The existing habitable floor area is less than the allowed 3,520. If you look at the aerial of the neighborhood, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I think that will get everybody acquainted with the site. The neighborhood is a mix of predominantly 1.5 and 2-family single-family homes. There's a mix of newer and remodeled homes along with older unmodified houses. There's township property to the west. I think there's like a water tank over here. Board members probably more familiar with that, but yeah, there's a township property. And then the Hillside Elementary School is right across Hillside to the east from the subject property. The surrounding lots have a variety of sizes and shapes and do not appear to have been a uniform development. I'm going to zoom in on the tax map, which is the tax and zoning map, which what we did was we put the zoning districts on. So you can see that we're in the R3 zone. We have both 500-foot and 200-foot radiuses, just for point of reference. You can see from the tax map here that there is, as I mentioned, the variety of the lot sizes and shapes that are in the neighborhood. The property is slightly trapezoidal in that the side lines are not at right angles to the rear and to the front. So as you heard, we're proposing to demolish the existing home. We're going to build 2 new single-family dwellings if approved, which of course is permitted use in the R3 zone. The new homes will comply with the minimum front, rear, and side setback requirements, the maximum building height of 35 feet, the maximum habitable floor area of 3,520 square feet, and the maximum habitable, floor area ratio of 21%, and building coverage. So with all the bulk standards of the zone, except for, of course, the 2 variances that we are requesting. So I'm going to go through the 2 variances, which are 1 variance for each lot.
Charlie, before you get to that, the board's planner made mention of the fact that he wanted additional testimony regarding the character of the neighborhood with respect to lot sizes and dimensions.
Yes.
So if you could go through in more detail the comparison of the proposed subdivision and how that will fit in terms of the other lots in the immediate vicinity.
Okay. I think the best bet is let me zoom back in on the tax map, which is in the upper corner of the conceptual site plan. So obviously the site's in the middle. So we have delineated the site and the zone. So let's focus in on the R3 zone. which is obviously where the site is, and I think we should draw comparisons to that, because obviously the R4 zone, which borders a little bit farther up Hillside and then a little bit further down Belmont, do have all smaller lots. So if we start on the north end and we come down, we've identified at least 7 lots within 500 feet of the property that are single-family dwellings in the R3 district that are non-conforming in regards to the 15,000 square feet within 150 feet of the right-of-way. So we can look at Lot 76 on the tax map here, as I'm pointing out. That is, basically, if you don't have 100 feet width, you're not going to be able to have 15,000 square feet within 150 feet of the right-of-way. So we have an undersized, we have a non-conforming lot at number 76, number 77. On Belmont, we have number 1, maybe I should read the addresses because I think that would be easier. So we have 64 Hillside, just to the north of us. We have 64 Hillside to the north of us. We have, on Belmont, we have 105 and 103. These are the 2 lots that are in the R3 zone on Belmont. As you can see where my mouse is, these 2 lots are not conforming in the same regard as the proposed lots. We have Lot 82, which is 92 Hillside. This is this very irregular shape, but there's not 150 feet. Within 150 feet, we do not have the 15,000. Lot 83.02, which is 104 Hillside. And also, we have a little piece of this lot, lot number 43, which is 103 Hillside, right at the edge of our limit here of self-imposed limit of 500 feet, just for the purposes of analysis, has a narrower than 100-foot width. So it is likewise non-conforming in a similar sense to the proposed lots.
Thank you. So now you wanted to go through the variances. It's one variance for each lot,
Yes,
correct?
yeah, it's one variance for each lot. So as we've mentioned now, one bulk variance requested for each proposed lot per section 17098C5. The required minimum lot area, 15,000 square feet, must be measured within 150 feet of the front street right-of-way line, okay? So that's, just to put it in a very simple manner, the standard lot size in the zone is 150 by 100. 100-foot width, and then at least 150 feet going back. So we're coming up with areas of 12,677.9 on lot 79.01 and 12,677.3 on proposed lot 79.02.
All right, so in terms of the analysis, we're going under a C2 variance analysis?
Yes.
Okay. And if you could describe for the board your opinion as to why we meet that C2 analysis.
Yes, okay. It's necessary in order to justify a C2 variance, we need to show the board that they can grant a departure from the regulations when for a specific piece of property, the purposes of the act would be advanced by, of the MLUL would be advanced by a deviation from the zoning ordinance requirements, and the benefits have to outweigh the detriments. So just to go through the 5 criteria for a C2 variance, has to relate to a specific piece of property. Well, this proposal relates specifically to the characteristics of the subject property. The granting of the requested variances would not affect other properties in the zone. We're talking about just this specific piece of property. Number 2, the purposes of the MLUL need to be advanced by this deviation from the zoning ordinance and requirements. So let's go through that, the purposes of the MLUL that are advanced by this proposal. This proposal represents a better zoning alternative in that the following purposes of the MLUL are promoted. Purpose E, and that is to promote the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations that will contribute to the well-being of persons, neighborhoods, communities, and regions, and preservation of the environment. Okay. The R3 zoning district calls for lots of 15,000 each, which means the intention was that a property of this size, 41,973 square feet overall, should have at least 2 single-family dwellings, okay? The proposed 2 single-family homes are therefore more closely conforming to the zone plan than the existing single lot. The 2 resulting lots will conform in overall area, so the overall size conforms, and will only be marginally insufficient in regards to lot shape, in that not all of that area is within the required 150 feet of the right-of-way. So to put that plainly is, we have the area, we're just not within the strict interpretation of that 150 feet. And again, having one big lot was not the intention of this zone. So we are providing a better zoning alternative. Another way that we're advancing the purposes of the MLUL is purpose number I, or letter I. So that's to promote the desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design and arrangement. So we are proposing 2 modern homes that meet the needs of today's population on 2 lots that more closely match those of the existing, much of the existing neighborhood in size, and and these lots more closely comply with the intent of the master plan. Okay, so justification that we need to do, number 3, is the public good. We need to show that the public good, how it is affected by this. The public good in this case can be described as the immediate residential neighborhood. These variances can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. The new lots will more closely resemble the majority of lots in the immediate neighborhood. Houses that are otherwise conforming in the zone can be built on the proposed lots, despite not having the required full 15,000 square feet within 150 feet of the right-of-way. So moving ahead to 4, let's talk about the benefits and detriments. The benefit to the public good from this proposed development, as I said, is that we are creating these 2 modern homes on 2 lots, more in conformance with the zone, rather than the existing oversized lot. The neighborhood will benefit from the attractive architectural design. The modern new home will be placed on this lot will be built to the latest building codes, including new energy efficiency standards. We're not proposing to remove any mature trees at this time, and therefore there's no detriments to the public good by the approval of this proposal. So number 5, the intent and purposes of the zoning regulations and master plan. Granting the variances will advance the intent and purposes of the R3 residential regulations. The 2018 master plan of Livingston, the reexamination, specifically discussed the R3 districts and recommends that wherever the predominance of lots in a neighborhood is below the minimum lot size for the R3 district, consideration should be given to rezoning to R4 or to a new district. Okay? So the proposed improvement that we're talking about will advance the goals and recommendations of the master plan, and therefore these both variants can be granted without substantially impairing the intent and purposes of the master plan. So just to circle back on that, we have lots, what we're proposing here would be conforming in the R4 zone. So the master plan specifically talks about a situation where a neighborhood has lots such as this, the predominant, as we've shown here, many of the, at least 7 that we've identified are this non-conforming and more closely resemble the R4, we would be compliant on the lot size if we were, we are compliant with the R4 standard, which is the, is,
9375.
wait, hold on.
You actually exceed the R4 zone.
I'm sorry?
We would actually exceed the requirements.
Yeah, we would exceed the, yes, that's a good way to state it. Just one final thing about the goals of the master plan. There's 3 goals to the master plan: to preserve and enhance the primarily residential character of the community, to maintain a balance of residential, business, and public uses, and to preserve and improve the quality of life. The replacement of this 1947 dwelling with 2 new modern single-family homes for development, benefit, and enjoyment of its current and future residents is consistent with all 3 of the goals of the master plan. And including the goals and recommendations of the master plan, and the bulk variance can be granted without substantially impairing the intent and purpose of the master plan.
Just one more thing. In discussion with you, you indicated to me, and you pointed me to a case, Kaufman versus the Planning Board of Warren, 110 NJ 551. It was a 1988 case, that it was similar to that case where there was a very large, extra large area, and they had a similar requirement there where they created lots that exceeded the area required in the zone, but the frontage was off. And in that Supreme Court decision, they supported creation of those because they felt that it was the benefit of zoning to have more harmonious lot sizes. Would you say that that case and that sentiment applies to what we're trying to do here?
Yes.
Thank you. The board has questions for
Are
you.
there any questions from the board?
So I like the way you put it, that you needed 100. You need 100 feet on the frontage, right? I have no idea why Livingston doesn't have a frontage ordinance. They have this 150 feet. So you need, basically doing the math, you're basically 85 feet on frontage on hillside, as opposed to the 100 that would otherwise be required?
Yes, I believe the actual number is 81. We have 81 and 81 on each lot. I'm going to zoom in.
It's got to be a little bigger than that to get to 12,677.
Well, we're really deep, right? The lot
Yeah.
is like almost 250 feet deep.
Right, but this is only in the first 150 feet. So it's 150 times X equals 12,677.
Yes.
Right, my algebra is horrific, but it's.
She knows the number. She got the back.
Yeah, I think it was, the application and the planning memos, everything else had the 20,000 and the 21,000 square footage, but the chart sort of, I think, threw a lot of us off.
Okay. Sorry for that confusion.
That's okay. No, I appreciate you clarifying it.
Yeah.
And I think, I think as you've articulated, they're slightly undersized for the habitable floor, the minimum lot area pursuant to the 150-foot front required, looking only at the first 150 feet. But when you look at the entire lot size, they're significantly oversized.
Correct.
The ordinance says, to see whether it's consistent with the neighborhood, that you do the review of, lots 400 feet around the property, and that the lot size should be, larger than 60% of the lots in the area. Have you had a chance to do that?
Is there, are you saying, it says that in the ordinance?
Yeah, it's part, for at least what the Board of Adjustment, and we usually, use that also here for consistency with the neighborhood. So can you just kind of talk about, the frontages on?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I will say that what I did, I'm not familiar with the exact ordinance you're talking about. However, we did happen to have the 500-foot radius on the tax map, which, is a similar idea. The the 500-foot radius gets us almost out of the R3 zone, which obviously I didn't use any of the comparison. If you're not counting the zones, meaning like if you're comparing the neighborhood, kind of just for the sake of argument, not considering R3 versus R4, we're very close to the border of the R4, and the R4 obviously has a essentially 75-foot requirement. So then that would increase the overall, conformity with the overall neighborhood. The other thing I'll say is we didn't try to, count the houses further back on the roads to the rear, because we just thought that wasn't part of the neighborhood. We wanted to just focus directly on Hillside and, to a certain extent, Belmont. If you would like to, from the tax map, I could tell you that we're dealing with some lots. We're dealing with, for example, the lot 76 is 76 feet wide. So I'm going to read off of my notes here, if you bear with me 1 second. We have, so lot 82,
That's 92 Hillside?
yeah, that's that unusual shaped lot is, as far as the frontage goes, let me see here. The land description on the tax map is 60 by 99, and I think that must be the narrowest point. So it's 60 by 99 and 66 by 520. So I think this narrowest point could be as little as 60 here. We have 83.02 has a 77, so less than 80, so smaller than our proposed lots. We have Lot 2 on Belmont is 75.74, and Lot 1 on this side is 74 and a fraction, too.
That's 105 Belmont.
Yeah, 105 Belmont. So there's quite a number of lots that are narrower than our proposed lots.
I think if you go north, you get the same result, too.
Yes. I'm trying to see, unfortunately, that red line, and it's a little hard to read. 63, Camille's telling me, on lot 77. So you're talking about, and the tax records I have here that I'm reading from corroborate that. 63 by 190 is the lot. So the lot is smaller than ours and significantly is narrower than ours, quite a bit.
Any other questions from the board?
So
Any
last,
questions for,
Chairman,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, one quick question. So by splitting the land, you are getting into variances on both sides by 3,223 square feet, right? Minimum lot area on both lots.
Yes, but
That's the two variances we're talking about.
It's basically it's 15,000 minus the 12,000
That's 2,323.
and change, and yeah,
Yeah, that's 2,323, 2,323, roughly about that.
okay, yes.
How does that minimum lot size or area negatively impacting your design decisions in creating where the houses will be, back, forth, reducing any variances or anything else, negatively impacting your design decisions?
There's no negative impact, and I'll tell you why. We were able to design a house that otherwise conform with the zone, meaning the setbacks, the side setbacks, the front setbacks, rear setbacks, height. Really, there's no other impacts to the designs that we had or to the lots and the future houses that will be on them. by the fact that we're not conforming with the lot area within 150 feet requirement.
Okay, that helps, thank you. And going back to the first point that was raised earlier, that's sometimes what happens, we see this, that from here, this variance has become hardships for when it goes to zoning. I think our council mentioned that we can have probably a clause in there, but how do you see that pursuing? Are these design decisions, you know, sort of, as you mentioned, there's no negative impact on your design decisions based on the minimum lot area. You mentioned about height, so that's different. About the setback from the street. So like you heard from the neighbor, there is a concern of the neighbor saying, hey, my view will be blocked. That's the existing household versus what you're gonna build. Any of those considerations that come in play, plus any of these hardships will be carrying over into zoning.
But I think what's important to remember, the only application that's before us is a subdivision. Okay, we're not here to, you know, the house is, you know, what may be built there is not before us. Really, what we're here is to either to grant or not grant the variance for the subdivision. So that's the.
So can we do that clause that we discussed earlier that it?
Well, they've agreed to comply with, you know,
Okay,
with all of the.
that was my concern,
You know,
thank you,
the bulk variances.
thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public for this witness as to his testimony?
And we're gonna find that? Where did we end up on the 10 feet? Are you gonna go to 60 feet for the Changs?
If the board prefers, we're good.
In fact, I would prefer that, because I think it would set it back a little further, closer to the neighbors, where the non-conforming setbacks are of 90 plus feet.
If you have a question for the witness now, if not, then there will be a chance at the end to, you know, give testimony in favor of or in opposition to the application. So you have a question for the witness?
It's similar to what
Okay, yeah, come on up then.
If there's enough space in the backyard, there's no way for you to move the homes farther back? I know that's my main concern. It may not seem, you know, but it's obstructing my view, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, they're constrained by the ordinance, number one. Number two,
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, I don't know if they have enough space in the backyard to push it further back.
I don't know that we can go back farther than 60 feet.
and I don't think that's up for this board to determine. I mean, we're here to determine whether to grant a variance for the subdivision. If you then build a house that's compliant, then you can do that. If you're hearing, you know, from the residents that they'd like you to move it back, but you still have to be compliant with the ordinance. So they still have to comply with the ordinance. It sounds like they're willing to move it back,
Correct.
but they're still constrained by what the town ordinance requires.
Yeah, I
where they
understand
could
that
place
part.
the house.
Yeah, I understand that. So that's
So
what I was asking.
60 is the best we can do, I
Right.
think.
Okay. Okay.
So what it sounds like to me is that you know, they're willing to, you know, they hear your concern, and they're willing to, well, when they build a home, to, you know, alleviate that concern as best they can based upon what the rules are.
So there's not enough space in the backyard then to move?
No, it's what, no, the ordinance requires the house to be set back a certain distance. And that's, you know, and that's what they're, you know, certainly willing to do that. They're willing to go farther back than what they're currently proposing.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for this, from the public for this witness? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no other witnesses.
Is there anybody, anybody from the public that wishes to make a sworn statement for or against the application, other than the questions that you've had so far? Is there any questions? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We've demonstrated the proposed subdivision would create 2 lots that will allow for 2 modern single-family homes that will fit with the zone plan. The lots are within keeping of lots in the area, and the justification for the C2 variance is established by the testimony is clear. The subdivision will benefit the community by creating more harmonious lot sizes, 2 new attractive homes to be built within the bulk requirements of the ordinance, and provide no negative impact to single-family homes of this nature belonging in the zone. Thank you.
If the board was to approve this application, would you also comply with the requirements of the engineering memo, January 13th?
Yes, I think
Okay.
we already indicated as such, but yes,
Okay.
officially, we are happy to.
And I think one of the questions they had was whether this would be filed by deed or subdivision plat.
Whatever the board prefers, we can do it either way.
Leave it up to you.
Deed is easier usually,
Okay.
I think.
The parties having had an opportunity to make closing statements, it appears to the chair that the applicant, all interested persons, and the board members have had reasonable opportunity to be heard, and that the evidentiary record of this hearing ought to be closed. Absent objection, and in the absence of any motion for continuance, the evidentiary record is closed, and no further testimony or evidence shall be heard or received. So the board members shall now have the opportunity to state or discuss their views on the application. Anybody feel free to chime on in? So with that, if
I'll go first if no one else wants to say. So, this is an interesting part, I got you in the back. I've been doing this for how many years? This is an interesting part of town because it's this one stretch of Hillside Avenue that's in the R3. The rest of Hillside has homes that are on much narrower lots, set a little further back, including the Romeo family. And this one little piece has these sort of further back, bigger lots. And I can certainly see where some of those homes are getting older. I think you meet all the criteria of the R3. You can build a house that's the right size for the R3. The width, I think what I always look for is if you're driving down the street, the rhythm of the lots needs to be similar, right? So that you don't all of a sudden have these little skinny, almost townhomes, and you're not doing that. The lots, I think to the north and the south, you've established through the testimony, are all in the 85 to 75 foot range, which is right where you're going to be. So I think you meet the criteria. I don't see any negatives. I appreciate the fact you slid the home back to try and accommodate your neighbors a little bit. And I would make a motion to approve subject to the condition of the 60-foot setback and the letters that were in the engineer's letter that was in the application.
Thank you. Anybody else? With that, if I can have a motion?
I made a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I wasn't listening.
Saving a stack.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the application. Jackie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Board Member Alternate 1 will vote in place of absent Member Ratner,
Yes.
and Board Member Alternate number 2 will vote in place of absent Member Diner.
Correct.
So the motion, Mr. Santola,
Yes.
Mr. Reber,
Yes.
Ms. Foss,
Yes.
Mr. Dufford,
Yes.
Mr. Botani,
Yes.
Ms. Vishnu,
Yes.
Ms. Khanna,
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for a very well-presented application. We appreciate it. Thank you for all your testimony. And thank you for being accommodating to the, as best you can, based upon the current ordinances, with your neighbors. It's always good to be good neighbors, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the agenda.
Sure.
84 Hillside Avenue, so the neighbor as well. So, I mean, the back of the lot of 76 and all the way to the north, 72, 60 something, I mean, the small area, I mean, not small, a big area belong to the town. I'm just curious whether the town has any plan to do with that area, about the area?
So, you know, one of the good things about the planning board is we have elected official representatives here, and I guess he can certainly discuss it, but I know that there's, you know,
Yeah, because I can see a lot of coyote, foxes, deers coming from the woods. Yeah, sometimes they are cute, but it might hurt my little kid and my dog too. So, I mean, because I can't fence my lot, that's too huge.
and
So I'm
and what would you propose for the for
I
the
don't
property?
know, because it has been abandoned for years and years, right? I don't know. I think that's green area. Yes, yes.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so can I call you sometime?